How controversial are football jersey numbers? These jersey numbers aren't merely arbitrary. Behind them are secret meanings. The most astonishing thing is that Lionel Messi's number isn't even his. So, when Messi first began to gain notoriety in 2007, everyone was watching him, notably the illustrious Ronaldinhos. Ronaldinho was forced to follow Messi once he realized his talent. He took Messi under his wing and turned to make Messi a star into a side job. But their teammates were unaware that the two had developed into such strong friendships. Ronaldinho was also desired by the rest of Barcelona, who believed he was only playing for the audience and not for the squad. And, to be completely honest, this just enraged him. Ronaldinho thus decided to join AC Milan in 2008, but he set out to make Messi the best player ever, not merely to leave Barcelona on a negative note. And what greater incentive to get Messi moving than to give him his jersey number? And, well, Messi started setting records that will never be surpassed as soon as he put on number 10. Furthermore, it cannot have been coincidence. It's fantastic that a legend is sending down his phone number. All except one of the numbers were so contentious that they destroyed Gianluigi Buffon's career. In 2000, Buffon was becoming one of the most tenacious goalkeepers in football. What better way to mark the occasion than to change his jersey number? But he had no idea that this would cause a global uproar. He merely wanted to display his courage to the world. Buffon was unaware that his new number was extremely insulting until he unveiled his jersey. And the background history is so horrible that I'm not even authorized to mention it. In actuality, Buffon didn't intend to upset anyone. His justification for the figure was funny. We all know what it takes to have balls. Therefore, I chose 88 since it makes me think of 4 balls, he claimed. Hold on, dude. What? Did he just say that? Forget it. Now, even though Buffon's joke was meant to be hilarious, he was genuinely accused of backing the Holocaust. After some time, he finally said, "I didn't know the secret meaning of 88, but I'll alter the numbers if that'll help." That's exactly what Buffon did, too. He never put it on. He instead changed to 77, and after a situation like that, he was so close to praying to get out of it, just like David Beckham, whose jersey number was given to him by Jesus. And it all took place during his contentious 2003 season. Beckham was, in fact, radically reinventing football at the moment. He was more well-known off the field than on it, really, because of his appearance and sense of style, but eventually he began to lose his mind. Manchester was worried that Beckham was putting his fame ahead of the squad, as you can see. And at one point, Alex Ferguson, the team's manager, actually witnessed Beckham enter the field and appear more thrilled to debut his new haircut than to win the match. Unbelievable. And, as you can see, Beckham was drawing so much interest to the squad that Alex could no longer stand grabbing him. Alex became so enraged to a defeat to Arsenal that he kicked Beckham in the face with a cleat. Sir Alex Ferguson didn't attempt to refute it, sir. David Beckham was struck in the head by a football boot that he did kick. If the boot had been on the other foot, what would have happened? It would have been directly addressed towards ceramics by David Beckham. Even though Alex was somewhat to blame for Ferguson now, this episode was the tipping point, and now was the right moment to sell Beckham. Alex then made a call to the only team ready to put up with Beckham's antics and send him directly to Madrid. But to be completely honest, Beckham appears to have taken this very personally. Performing in Manchester wasn't supposed to be his last dance. He wanted to show that he was more than just his heir. Therefore, he was only thinking about one jersey number, and that was the one that belonged to the Black Jesus, Jordan Michael. Yeah! The next season, Beckham donned number 23 to help Madrid defeat Manchester United in the Champions League and demonstrate that a player's jersey number can significantly impact their lives, just as it did for Antoine Greizmann. You see, anytime teams spotted Antoine's diminutive frame, they would count him out throughout his childhood. And even though he was practicing every day, he was passed over by every squad. But he was aware of the player he could develop. He only needs one shot, and he didn't get that chance until 2005 when he was 14 years old. You see, because his father was the mayor, Antoine was given a seat on the UF Macon, the team that represented his city, and Antoine was aware that he couldn't let everyone down since he may not have the chance again. Antoine pulled on his long-sleeve number 7 jersey and prepared to give everything he had on the field when he was due to play, even against PSG Youth Academy with scouts watching from all over the world, because this is precisely what his idol would just have expected him to do. As a result, when Antoine entered the game, he broke ankles, set up goals for his teammates, and guided his team to a convincing victory. The scouts couldn't believe it. They wondered who the hell was number 7. And Antoine acknowledged that he became such a fantastic player as a result of his likes and channel subscriptions. What are you doing when I'm trying to make you a legend? Toggle it. Antoine acknowledged that I wear the number 7 and long-sleeve jerseys because I want to seem like David Beckham. He is superior. Man, take a look at Antoine. Let's say he didn't perform well in that one match. Like you will be after hearing the tale of Frankie de Jonge's jersey number. He would have been devastated. Want to know further? But before that, subscribe to the channel for getting more updates. Frankie's birth in 1997 marked the beginning of everything. You see, his family was obsessed with football growing up, so Frankie was anticipated to emerge as a legend from an early age. But since both his parents were football players and his father was an amateur pro, he was in good hands. However, Frankie's grandpa had the most impact on him. Even though Frankie was still a little child, he spent all of his free time working out with his grandfather. And when Frankie was just 5 years old, he was already being scouted because of how good he had gotten at football. Yeah, this youngster was crazy. He had a long path ahead of him though, as he had aspirations of playing for Barcelona in the future. Then, between 2004 and 2016, while playing for Willem II and Ajax, Frankie rose to fame all over the world and came close to realizing his ambition. So, he wanted to show up as his 21st birthday approached him. He desired a lavish celebration for his family. But before anything could happen, Frankie learned his grandfather had passed away as he was getting ready for the day when his phone rang. He didn't want to accept it at this point. I mean, of all days, his 21st birthday? Frankie was at a loss for words. Then again, did his grandpa want him to be unhappy and fail to realize the dream they had often discussed? Frankie decided to change his jersey number for him because his grandpa spent his final years working to make him the star player, and he decided to use 21 to stand in for the only number that made sense. Frankie was aware that there was just one option left. His grandfather had put everything else on hold and traveled to Barcelona, and on January 23rd of the next year, 2019, Frankie carried it out. Frankie ensured that everyone in his family was present when Barcelona presented a 5-year contract offer to him. But because his grandpa was unable to watch him succeed, Frankie made sure to pick his famous jersey number there specifically so that he could be on the court with him. He may also give credit to his grandfather for making him into one of the game's greatest midfielders. Now, I won't lie, it was challenging to get through that part. But I knew we couldn't part ways without you knowing this when I learned that Cristiano Ronaldo's jersey number frightened him. Because Ronaldo built a name for himself sporting the iconic 28 on August 12, 2003, Ronaldo became the highest-paid teenager in Premier League history, shortly after signing a $19 million contract with Manchester. Therefore, it seemed logical that he would want to keep sporting the number, but Alex Ferguson, the team's manager, had other ideas when he first entered Manchester's facility. He had just traded away David Beckham, the team's face, although the supporters adored him. The supporters were furious when word spread that a tiny Portuguese lad would be taking over for their hero. But in the end, even though he wasn't aware of it himself, Alex was aware of Ronaldo's potential. Therefore, he drew Ronaldo into his office and gave him a new jersey number. I recall Alex and Ferguson told me, "Listen, now I want that to take the number 7 before I left Lisbon, England. I was shocked since I knew the men who were wearing that shirt. Initially, Ronaldo was truly afraid to wear that number. After all, some of the best players in football history wrote it. Ronaldo was unaware that wearing the number may endanger his career if he didn't live up to that standard. However, go forward 20 years, he not only surpassed David Beckham in quality and was named greatest player in Manchester history, but he is still at the top of his game. Not bad for a youngster who feared wearing a number, I suppose. However, as you can see, some players had good reason to be afraid, like when a player's entire family was kidnapped, or when a player was driving his Ferrari and it almost blew up. Stay tuned to learn more about the interesting stories of football players.